How's it going, guys? My name's Shane. Welcome back to the Horror Basement, and today I have something very exciting to announce to everybody. I'm going to be reviewing the entire The Hills Have Eyes film series. This includes the movie we're going to be talking about today, its sequel, the early 2000s reboot, and the sequel to the early 2000s reboot. But of course, we have to begin where the series itself began, with 1977's The Hills Have Eyes by director Wes Craven. This movie has um, a dog that dies in the movie, and also sexual violence um, is heavily implied but not explicitly shown. So that's just a warning for anyone before you do sit down and watch this. This movie follows the Carter family, which consists of retired Cleveland police officer Bob and his neurotic, worrywart wife Ethel, and their children Lynn, Brenda, and Bobby. Now, Brenda and Bobby appear to be like teenagers, whereas Lynn is married to the fellow with the porn stash and the short shorts by the name of Doug, and they brought along Lynn and Doug, that is, brought along their little baby Katie. Now, the Carter family is driving through the desert on their way to Los Angeles, but they've decided to go off the beaten path into the desert, essentially, to find an old silver mine, which they believe to be some kind of tourist attraction or some kind of interesting thing to see. But Fred, the gas station guy at the last gas station in like 200 miles, warns them that there's nothing to see out in the desert, that it's a active bomb range for the U.S. Air Force, and that they'd be stupid to go off the main roads and liable to get themselves killed. Now, in the tradition of horror movie characters, they do not listen to the old man at the gas station, and the Carter family, with their station wagon and RV, drives directly into the desert. Now, one would think that it was the family of murderous cannibals that caused the Carter family caravan to wreck, but in actuality, it was just some dickhead in a fighter plane that decided to fly low and basically scare the shit out of them, which caused Bob to take his eyes off the road, and then when he gets his eyes back on the road, there's a little bunny rabbit, which they swerve to avoid, and end up crashing their car into a cactus and into a ditch and breaking the rear axle. So they were not trapped through any machination of the murder cannibal family. The murder cannibal family was basically just sitting up on the rocks. They look down at the desert and see that the Carter family has managed to royally fuck up their own situation and decide to come down and pick a fight with them, basically to get their resources, um, you know, food, women, water, ammo. And when I say food, that includes the dogs and children and probably the adults as well. Now, the cannibal murder family is actually comprised of the family of Fred the Gas Man, which we learn in a later scene in the movie that one of Fred's sons, by the name of Jupiter, was just an incorrigible little shit his entire childhood. Burnt down the family farm, was murdering animals, that kind of thing. So Fred, in a fit of rage, beats Jupiter in the face with a tire iron and then leaves him out in the desert to die of exposure. But in the intermittent 20 or 30 years since this event took place, Jupiter, the patriarch of the murder cannibals, has managed to kidnap an obese alcoholic prostitute by the name of Big Mama and has managed to rear 4 living children from that union. There's a daughter by the name of Ruby, who eventually switches sides at the end and assists the Carters in defeating the cannibal family. And then there are Jupiter's 3 sons, Mars, Pluto, and Mercury. Now, Mars is the one with the bad wig and the fake Creole accent. Pluto is the one played by horror character actor legend Michael Berryman. And Mercury is only in the film for a brief period until he is kicked off a cliff by the Carter's dog Beast. So my one issue with the movie is that it is paced rather slowly for the first two-thirds. It seemed like a lot of the movie is basically setting up the situation, and then the middle portion of the movie is a lot of the Carters being stranded and slowly stalked by the cannibal family, but not a lot of action occurs until the last 20 minutes, where finally the remaining Carters team up with Ruby and basically fight the remaining cannibals head on. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. It's less well known as some of Wes Craven's later works, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, but it has that, like, 1970s horror feel to it. Like, you can feel, like, the dirt and the grit on this movie, and I'm not just talking about the film quality, but I kind of liken it to Texas Chainsaw in that respect, where everything just feels, like, gritty and real in a way that horror movies moving forward into the 80s would kind of lose. Yeah, this is obviously, as most things with Wes Craven's name attached to them are, this movie's a classic. 100% give it a watch. If you made it to the end of the video, please leave a comment about these cool bones that I got to decorate for the Hills Have Eyes series. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my reviews of the sequel and the reboots, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Thank you.